Hello everyone, MarkyJo1990 here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to do various map stuff in SRPG Studio. This includes making a map, making your own custom tile set, and editing terrain. So when you first open up the program or start a new project, this is the screen you're met with. What does this stuff mean? Well, the first thing you should know is that over here is your list of chapters. When you create a map, a new chapter is listed here. When you click on that chapter, the units that you can get, the items you can get, and the switches that you can turn on or off will be shown here. I think this is only for switches that you turn on, though. And over here is the preview of the map. These flags, we'll get into these later, but basically they have to do with your formation, like your character formation, but only if you have a preparation screen. So, you might be wondering now, how do I edit this map? Well, all you need to do is you just need to click your chapter and then click Open Map. And then it will take you to this screen, where on your left you will have a tile set. Now, SRPG Studio starts with 3 runtime package tile sets. You have an outdoor tile set, which is this. You have an indoor tile set, which is this. And then you have ornaments. Now, I should probably explain the different types of tiles that you will be able to deal with in SRPG Studio. First, there are regular tiles. These tiles will overwrite other regular tiles and ornament tiles. Then you have ornament tiles, which can be placed over regular tiles. Notice how the door was placed here, but the grass below it was not removed? That's what ornaments do. You can place them over anything except other ornament tiles. If you try to place an ornament tile over another ornament tile, it will just overwrite it completely. Now, there's also animated tiles, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, with these, you can pretty much just create a map right on the offset. Like, maybe there's some dirt here. Maybe I want there to be a king who is, like, king of the dirt. Well, here's his throne right here. There you go. That's how you make a map. You just click stuff and then click on this and then it happens. Now, let's say you want to create some custom tiles. Because let's be real here. The base tile set that SRPG Studio starts with is not very impressive. And with our amazing artistic skills, we want to, spice it up a little bit. Maybe we want to add, Pac-Man tiles. Well, here's how you go about doing it. You go to Resources, Graphics, you scroll down to Original, then click Map Chip, and then you can add with this. Now, I already created some tile sets, so I'm just going to throw them on in here. Let's see, what do we got here? So I have this, which is, Pac-Man. I have 3 different Pac-Man tiles here. I'll explain them in a second. We also got some animated Pac-Mans, which I'll just throw in. This and this. Okay, so now we have 3 Pac-Man tile sets. Now, how do you create these tile sets? Well, basically you just go in paint.net and draw them. I'm going to run you through these real quick because it's really important for you to know this. So, this is one of the few Pac-Mans, tile sets I have. This one does not have a transparent background, so this is going to be treated as a regular tile. I can place ornaments over this. Now, the one below it has transparent pixels, so this is an ornament. I could actually, in theory, put this over this tile here, and it would work. And then there's this one where it has a background, but it's semi-transparent. Something you need to know is that this is treated as an ornament. So you can actually place this over a grass tile and it'll still work despite the fact that all the spaces are filled in. Let's see, what else? So yeah, after you put them in, you might notice that, oh shit, so my regular tile set was included, but not the other ones. Why is that? Well, the other tile sets I made are animated tile sets. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but I don't want to overwhelm you. So let's just start with what we currently have. So I got this, and as you saw before, that's going to be treated as an ornament, and so will this. So the ground tile isn't removed. It just places the ornament over it. Now, it is worth noting, when you place an ornament tile over some other tile, the game will treat the ornament as the main tile. So, like, for example, if you place a unit over here, this tile here will be treated as a ground tile, and like the character won't get any bonuses or whatever. But if you place an ornament over here and you place a dude there, he will get the properties of the throne. Like, he'll get the throne bonuses and whatnot, so long as you have set them. So, with that in mind, how the fuck do you do animated tiles? Well, it's a little complicated, unfortunately. Let me see if I could find a really good way to describe this. Alright, so the first thing... Oh, you know what? Let's not start with that one. Let's start with this one. How the fuck does this shit work? Well, first things first, the program has a weird way of deciding what the next frame of animation is. Like, you might be looking at this and be like, oh, okay, so all it does is, like, all I need to do to make an animated tile set is just, like, draw my dude, and then draw the next frame, and then the next frame. It's a little more complicated than that. So the way the program decides what the next frame of animation is it takes the height of your tile set, in this case it would be 3 tiles in size, and then it divides that by whatever number you set for the file name. Like, in order to indicate that this tile set is animated, you put an exclamation, and then you put a number, and then you put the name of the file. So I put 3. So the height of the tile set is 3. So it's going to divide by 3, and then it'll get 1. So we'll take the first tile and be like, okay, we add that by 1, and then we add it by 1 again in order to just create the animation. Now, with this tile set, the total, the height of it is 9, but the file name is exclamation 3. So what it does is it, like, takes 9 and divides by 3, and it gets 3. So it goes from here to here to here. And for the, like, these tiles here, like 1, 2, 3, it's going to go here to here to here to 7. So basically all you need to know is that if you want your tiles to do the thing you want, you have to take the total, like the height, and then divide it by this number, and then that determines what the next frame of animation will be. Now, you might be wondering, like, how the fuck do I get it to work, Mark? You've been talking about this shit, and it ain't working. Like, it's not displayed in the original. Well, the game acknowledges that you have the tile set in, but in order to actually put it in, you need to have the map tree thing enabled. So what you could do is go to Tools, Options, and then go to Expert, and click Enable Map Tree. And then the map tree option will appear. And then what you basically do is that you stitch the animated tiles together with with other tiles. Like, okay, so I'm gonna have the regular Pac-Man here, and then, like, on the right of that, I'm gonna have this one. And then bam, it does that. And then it gets included as part of the regular Pac-Man tile set. Now you might be wondering, like, but there were 3 frames of animation, why is it only showing 1? Well, that's because all 3 frames are combined into a single tile set. So I'm going to open up the game, and then you'll be able to see this in action. As you can see, it does exactly what I want. Now, let's say you have a tile. You might be noticing that Pac-Man is closing his mouth and then slowly opening it up again. So you can surmise that what the game is doing is it's doing this. Doop, 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 and then it just, like, loops from there. But you can actually set it so that it doesn't loop like that, where it goes, like, forwards and backwards and shit. So what you can do is, all you need to do is, after your number for the number of frames, you just add that. You add one of those, like, weird symbol things. And what that'll do is it'll make it so that Pac-Man does the chompies, and it didn't work. What the fuck did I do wrong? Let me quickly check something. After the number you put in the file name. Open folder. Oh, my bad. I was supposed to do it with this one, not the other one. Alright, so let me just quickly fix that. Yeah, I haven't added the colored Pac-Man tile set in yet, so it's just like, oh, what the fuck, dude? The fuck are you doing? Alright, it's showing me in like a weird tile here, but... And it's acting weird. Hold up. Let me just reopen the program, and hopefully it'll be behaving this time. Oh, okay, so I have to re-add the tile set in... oh, shit. What the fuck? Map chip? And it's just like, no file, dude. What the fuck? Okay, so I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to rename this to the Pac-Man thing. And then that should do it, I think. Okay, so... Oh, whoops. I got to add the Pac-Man back. Okay, add it back, and then... And there we go. See? It doesn't, like, slowly open again. Whew! Dodged a bullet right there! Alright, so, now we're gonna add the big boy. So, like, as you can see here, it combined all those frames into a single Pac-Man. I'm gonna do something crazy and add this one. So what this is gonna do is it's going to add the Pac-Man in this way. So as I said before, it uses the height and divides it by the file name number. So like boop, boop, boop. Those 3 frames are going to be combined into a single thing. This is going to be combined with these, and the blue's going to be combined with the blues. So I get 3 tiles total. And then that's how that works. And that's how you create new tile sets, including animated tile sets and ornament tile sets. Now, we also need to set the properties for these. We need to, like, set our own, like, terrain properties for these. So what we do is we go to database, we go to terrain, we go to our original assets, and bear in mind that these are all their own separate things, so you have to do it that way. Now, before I go into the whole edit the terrain thing, I should probably mention something. When there is a circle on a tile, that means that any character can pass through it. When there is a triangle, that means only certain classes or whatever can pass through it. When there is nothing on it, such as with this statue here, that means that nothing can pass it. So right now, Pac-Man, he's a total pushover. People could just walk right over him. So what we're going to do is we're going to select his terrain. Right now we only have empty, but we can change empty's name to Pac-Man. And then from here we could set what terrain bonuses Pac-Man gives you if you step all over him. Like the submissive little bastard he is. Now, I know it says avoid defense and resistance, but you can actually make it increase your attack power and other stats as well. But you have to do it by giving the terrain an optional skill. Sorry. And that's another thing. Terrains can give you skills so long as you step on them. So let's say that in your game you want this tile to like make you completely invincible. Well, you could give it the barrier skill. By default, barrier is set to block all attacks 100% of the time. Obviously, you'd be able to change that, but there you go. So like, stepping on Pac-Man makes you invincible. Because Pac-Man loves being stepped on, buddy. You can also set it so that, like, maybe this tile depletes your health by 5 points. Maybe it restores 5 points. You can also set the battle background. Since you're on Pac-Man, let's make it a cave. And the terrain group, this thing is a little weird. Because by default, there are no terrain groups to choose from. We'll get into that in a sec, though. And here you set what movement types can pass through this tile. Like, for example, if you have a class that has, like, the horse movement paradigm, and you set this to unchecked, that means that horses cannot step on Pac-Man. Pac-Man does not like horses stepping on him. He only wants the feet of men and women. Or maybe you can make it so that horses can step on them, but it costs like 5 points of movement. And that's what these are, like the numbers. Let's say you have a character with 5 points, with a mobility stat of 5, or like a move stat of 5. That means that tiles that, if the whole map was just like tiles that only consumed 1 point of move, they would be able to walk 5 tiles. Now, if it consumes 2, it would, like, each step would subtract their movement by 2. So, like, you take 1 step and you have 3 spaces left to move. You take another step, you only have 1 space to move, and then you can't move that last space unless the tile only consumes 1 point of move. If it consumes 2, then it won't let you do it because you don't have enough move to get through it. If you want to make things easy, you could just click all types can pass or no types can pass so that nobody steps on Pac-Man. You can also set passable conditions. I'm going to make it so that everybody steps on Pac-Man. You can make it so that, depending on the character's parameters, they can or cannot step on Pac-Man. So, like, let's say Pac-Man really loves Cure Leaves. Well, the only way you can step on Pac-Man is if you come to him with one of those, and then you can pass through his terrain. And it's like, yay, you got the Cure Leaf, so now you can step all over me. So I'm going to just quickly give my character a Cure Leaf. I'll explain the shit that you're looking at in a sec. So I'm just going to... Oh, you know what? I should probably place the main character a little closer. Boop. Okay, so. As you can see, he can step all over Pac-Man. But what happens if we take that Cure Leaf away? Ooh. Suddenly, you cannot step on Pac-Man. Or, well, these guys you could step on, but that's because I didn't set their terrain to be Pac-Man. But yeah, you can't step on them. They won't take your shit, man. So there you go. You can set passable conditions. Now here's another thing. This passable direction thing is a little confusing. So I think the best way to visualize it is that, like, when you remove one of these and make it like a small dot, imagine a fence is being erected on the opposite side of the tile. So, like, I made this the right side into a dot. What this means is that you cannot approach Pac-Man from the right or leave from the left. So, like, this guy, I'm gonna make it so that that thing is not good. So, hold up, let me just quickly check something. I just need to make it so that his passable conditions don't require a Cure Leaf. Okay, so anybody can step on him, but you gotta always you can't approach from the right or leave the tile from the left. So I'm gonna step on Pac-Man. So right here. And, like, notice how my movement is a little hindered there, like, when going to the left? That's because it doesn't visually show it, but there is an invisible fence to the left of Pac-Man. Like, between this tile and between here, there's, like, a little fence that my character has to, like, keep in mind and, like, move around. So, the best way to explain it is just... if you do this, picture a fence on the left side. If you do this, picture a fence on the top. Anyway, I think that pretty much explains it. But what about terrain groups? What do those do? Well, these are mostly used for conditionals. When you have, like, conditional events and shit, you can make it check to see if a character is stepping on a specific terrain group. Like, if they're stepping on a tile that falls in a terrain group. So, like, in this case, there we go, is Pac-Man. So, I added a terrain group, and it applies to all terrain and tile sets. But I also need to add Pac-Man to the terrain group. So, like, there you go. I believe that puts all of them there. Yeah, because, like, all these tiles are Pac-Man. So, now they're all part of a terrain group. So now you can have stuff like maybe an auto event goes off specifically if Pac-Man is here. If you step on terrain that is Pac-Man. Yeah. You get what I mean. Where is it? Stack comparison, distance, range. Enable distance, active unit, range, terrain group, Pac-Man. So let's see if this works. I think this will happen if I step on any of the top 3 Pac-Men. What? Oops. I think if I set it to 0, maybe? Yeah, like, it's probably checking if I'm, like, at least 1 space away from the Pac-Man terrain. There we go. And there you go. See, that's what the terrain group would be useful for. So, with that in mind, I think I've explained everything. This thing is a nightmare to look at. I apologize. I guess if you want, I could go into this. As you might have noticed, there's also these flags. Yeah, you know what? I'll talk about these for a sec. But in order to make this work, I need to create another character. So, like, I'll call you Dude 1. And I'll call you Dude 2. Alright, so we got 2 dudes. The only thing is that you have to make, like, if you play the game, like, right from the onset, I don't think you're going to automatically get... Yeah, you're not going to get both dudes. So, like, if you play through the game proper using test play, you have to have some sort of cutscene that makes Dude 2 join your team. So in this case, I would probably add an opening event that probably makes Dude 2 player affiliation. And I think that would do it. Yeah, I mean, it is adding them on here. So, like, let's see if that works. And bear in mind, if you already got Dude 2 in a previous chapter, you wouldn't have to worry about it here. But yeah, I got Dude 1 and Dude 2. So, this screen. Pac-Man is here. This is like the title of the chapter. And this is like the location. Pac-Man alleyway. Lots of Pac-Men are here. Watch out. And then, like, for the map, I could just do, like, P for Pac-Man. And that icon is mainly useful because it shows up here and it makes it easy to find the chapter you want. By default, all maps have a minimum width and height of like 20 and 15. There is a way to get smaller than this, but it requires plugins and I don't want to fuck with that. Basically, you're going to be stuck with this or bigger. Now for the chapter. Yeah, you could set chapter 1, 2, 3, yada yada yada. But 0 makes it the prologue chapter, as you can see up here, and -1 makes it the finale. So you could have the final chapter. This checkmark obviously makes it so that it displays the battle prep. If you do not have the battle prep, it will not use these flags at all. You will need to make the characters physically appear on the map through the like opening events cutscene, and that's how you would get them deployed on the map. But if you have the battle prep screen, then these become relevant. These are what are used to determine where the characters show up. Max units is pretty self-explanatory. Since we only got 2, I'm just gonna make it 2. There we go. Fixed units. Now this is interesting. You can make it so that certain characters are required to be deployed on the map. So I can make it so that Dude 1 is required and that you cannot, like, undeploy him. Let's see it here. Yeah. See, he's yellow, so I can't undeploy him. He's just stuck on the map. But, you might have noticed, I can switch their spaces. It's hard to tell, but, like, Dude 1's here, and now Dude 1's here. So how do you make it so that he's in a fixed position? Well, you do this. So, like, the number corresponds to the flag. So, since I set Dude 1 to be on flag 1, he's going to be stuck on that spot, no matter what I do. See? It's just fixed. I can't do anything about it. He's just a sad boy now because he can't go wherever he wants. I think if I uncheck that, it still makes it so that he's stuck to that position. Okay, no, it doesn't. Okay, never mind. So, there we go. Make him fixed, and then make him fixed on one. So, like, if you have a lord that you don't want to let the player move around, that's how you would do it. I personally am not a fan of that, though. I would just, like, rather make the lord required, but you can place him wherever you want. Map color. You can set it day, evening, or night, and that just changes the palette. Nothing special. Ooh, Dark Time Pac-Man. And then the map scroll, like, you know how in FE3, whenever a map starts, it scrolls across the map, and then it brings you to the prep screen? That's what this is. So turn it off, because it sucks. Actually, I don't mind it. And then fixed background, I have no idea what the fuck this is for. I assume it's for, like, cutscenes and stuff. You could also set the sortie restriction, so you can make it so that, like, you have to be a specific class in order to be deployed on this map. Or you can make it like you need that cure leaf. Remember Pac-Man? Well, what if we make it similar to the battle prep stuff? Let's import Dude 2 for the map test. Let's give Dude 1 a cure leaf. And now, since we have the sortie restriction to require that cure leaf, Dude 2 can't be deployed. However, if I give him the cure leaf, bam, he can now be deployed. Oh, and Dude 1, since he's required, he can just say fuck you to the rules. But yeah, that's how the sortie restriction works. You could also set it to mismatch as well. So, like, you can make it so that if you have the cure leaf, you're not allowed to be deployed. So you gotta get rid of all your cure leaves. And I think all matches, like, you have to have all these things rather than just one. Like, if it's just match, then you need at least one of these, and then you could be deployed. And then all mismatch, I assume you gotta have none of these, or else you're fucked or something. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't messed with it enough. But you could also make it based on level, role. You could base the sortie restriction on sexism. Like, you can make it so that only guys can come here. Like, maybe you're going to, like, a guys only bar or something. Well, guys only. Or maybe you're going to the hair salon, females only. Sorry. That was fucked up. Victory conditions. Fuck up dudes. I'm sure that's pretty self-explanatory. Get fucked. Test members and test difficulty I'll get to in a moment. Map music. Basically, you just set the map music for the chapter. You go to here, you select a thing, you can play it. And then there you go. It's pretty self-explanatory. Player phase, enemy phase, and ally phase is just like the map theme for each of these turns. Player battle is like when you go into battle, that's the theme that plays. Shift the map. So, like, you can move the map in a direction like this. Notice how the whole map just, like, moved over to the right? You could just do that. Just beware that, like, whenever you shift the map a direction, if like the tiles behind it that, like, get added as a result of it being shifted will become grass tiles. So, like, here's an example. Let's say I just do this. Well, shifting the map to the left will move the whole map to the left, but since some of it goes off screen, it's just deleted. And then the additional tiles become grass tiles. I'm becoming a little lonely without Pac-Man, so let's throw a whole bunch on there for good measure. Shift map. Okay, so last but not least, I haven't messed with these, so I can't really tell you what they do. I think it's just like, I don't know. Select test map. Yeah, I haven't messed with this, so I can't tell you what it does. I'm sure it's something useful. So test members, you can actually set like what team the player has, what level the characters are, what their specific stats are, their inventory, yada yada yada, their class. You can set certain information like how much gold they have in this scenario, the bonus, what items they have in their convoy. So like when they check the convoy, that short axe will be in there. And And bear in mind, this is only for play testing. Like, you notice this blue map testing? This will use these settings, unless you have a page 2, and you click it, and then hit OK, and then it will use the page 2 stuff. So maybe, like, you don't have Dude 2. Maybe Dude 2 didn't make it through the game. Maybe he got murdered, or you just didn't recruit him. Well, you could still have Dude 1 and be like, well, since there's no Dude 2, Dude 1's super strong because he had to do everything himself. He didn't have to have any help from his good old buddy Dude 2. So you can have him do that and then like be like, oh, well, he's also got a short lance and a short sword, and he's got an antidote because his sister has cancer and he needs to fix it. I don't know. Anyway, you can also copy this stuff to other maps, which is nice. So, like, you can playtest under multiple conditions with, like, multiple different characters and, like, multiple party setups. You can also, if you have multiple difficulties, you can, like, have the playtest conditions be based on that. Like, maybe you want to playtest a chapter on normal and hard, but you don't want to have to play through the entire game. So you just do that. You just select a difficulty and then click map test. I think that's it for the map stuff. I could talk about unit placement shenanigans, but I think I'd rather handle that in a different video. I think that's everything we're going to handle for this chapter. So, thank you for watching. Marky Joe 1990 signing out.